Hey guys, Coach Ferran here, back with another video. Today I am talking all about warm-ups and their importance and why they cannot be neglected. The warm-up is an integral part of any training session. Whether you're strength training, speed training, or playing games, a well-designed warm-up can cause a number of physiological responses that can increase your performance. So in this video, we're going to go over the different types of warm-ups, why they're so important, and how you can start creating effective warm-up routines for your athletes or your own training. So the main goal of a well-crafted warm-up is to prepare the athlete or your client mentally and physically for what they're about to do, whether it be exercise or competition. The main purposes achieved by creating an effective warm-up include increasing your core body and muscle tissue temperature, which kind of just gets the muscles ready to go, decreasing potential risk of injuries, whether from that exercise or from their games, and also limiting the effects of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. There have been a number of studies over the last 20 years or so that have shown this improvement in performance and have shown these other factors to be positively influenced by a well-crafted warm-up. Sometimes one of the hardest parts of writing a program, especially as a young or newer coach or trainer, is creating a warm-up to match the goals of the session. Without preparing the athletes for whatever that day's goal is, you may not see the kind of response or progress that you're hoping to see from the training or from the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a couple of key things to remember, just 3 of them, when structuring a warm-up. First, it's important to know that active methods of stretching, rather than passive methods like static stretching, have been shown to have a greater effect on athletes in a positive way. Dynamic stretching may be tiring, but it achieves everything that we're looking for out of a warm-up. You're increasing blood flow, you're increasing your core body and muscle tissue temperature, you're loosening up your joints and making them more mobile by decreasing viscosity of the joint fluids, just to name a couple things, right? So some of you, especially newer coaches, are probably thinking to themselves that, we did static stretching all the time. I remember back in the day when I was in high school, middle school, we did a lot of static stretching before going out to run or going to train. But, sorry to burst the bubble here, it may have been a reason why some of us didn't progress like we wanted to. It may have also, unfortunately, been the reason why some of us maybe pulled that hamstring in that sprinting session, because that muscle just was not properly prepared for what it was supposed to do. Plenty of research has shown that static stretching before training, before sprinting, or before your games has an incredibly negative effect on your body. That doesn't mean that there isn't a place for it. I tend to do a lot more of the static stretching as a cool down in my programs, or after a dynamic warm-up when the muscles are already warm, the muscles have been moving around, they're ready to go. It just kind of adds a little bit of a feel-good factor for some of my athletes, especially the ones that really enjoy doing it. So summing up that first part, active stretching versus passive stretching. Active stretching is going to be much better and give us better results for our warm-up. Now, for the next part, when we talk about structure, there's a couple things to keep in mind. We'll start first by talking about traditional style warm-ups. In traditional style warm-ups, you have 2 parts. There's a general period and a specific period. The general period is a couple minutes of low-intensity exercise like jogging, skipping, or biking. Just trying to elevate the heart rate, get the body to start warming up, talking about increasing our core body and muscle temperature there. The general period achieves this. The specific period is where you would start to do movements that are closely related to whatever that day's goal is. Whether it's an upper body, lower body, or a game day, you're going to start doing some movements similar to what you're going to be doing in that session or during that game. And the intensity would start ramping up to submaximal levels. Not quite full speed, but a little bit under it. If it's an upper body day, that would include doing movements like arm swings, arm circles, just to kind of get the shoulders moving, maybe doing a couple light push-ups and possibly ending with some clap push-ups for a little bit more of an explosive effect, maybe from a modified position, or if it's a more advanced athlete, just full-on clap push-up. If it was a sprinting day, you would do some light to moderate mechanics work, doing some AWOCs or some rapid arm swings to work on their arm movement. Then you would move on to hamstring focus exercises like straight leg runs, maybe some scoops, go into A skips or high knees as we start increasing our intensity, and then finishing with some submax sprints over a short distance, 15 to 20 yards. Another way to structure warm-ups would be something like the RAMP protocol, which stands for raise, activate and mobilize, and potentiate. 3 periods or phases, starting with the raise phase. We're looking to elevate levels of key physiological parameters such as the heart rate, core body temperature, etc. This is very similar to the general period and the traditional warm-up. However, we would start to do a little bit more of the specific leaning movements in this block of the warm-up, meaning instead of maybe doing a lateral skip with our basketball player, we would do lateral gallop, which is a more intense adductor warm-up movement, and then add in maybe some shuffling movements. For the activate and mobilize phase, that is going to be where we focus more on mobility and actively moving through different ranges of motion at the joints that we use the most in that session or in that game. And then for the final phase, potentiates, you would need to do movements like in our specific period in the traditional style that start picking up in intensity until they're done at the intensity level required by the training session or sport. So back to our basketball athlete, we would begin with some running movements, throw in some plyometrics that gradually pick up in intensity, and then end with some max velocity sprints. In my warm-ups with my programs and my teams, I've also done some body prep stuff to prepare them for contact, such as doing something like a partner shoulder bump. So there are a wide variety of methods that you can use and utilize to structure warm-ups, not just these 2 structures I've shown you here, the rate, the RAMP protocol, and the traditional warm-up style. Many coaches, including myself, have begun utilizing myofascial release techniques like foam rolling prior to warming up due to its ability to loosen tight muscles and increase blood flow. It's kind of an add-on effect to what the warm-up does already. In this clip of our women's basketball team with their pre-game warm-up, they're utilizing bands to begin warming up their shoulders and hip joints. Some coaches argue this isn't effective, but my athletes like to do it prior to the rest of the warm-up. This goes into the last key thing that I wanted to talk about is who you're working with. My athletes like to do stuff like this. If it's not going to hurt them and it's not going to negatively impact what we're trying to do as a whole, then I have no problem obliging. If it feels good to them and it's something that they want to do and it gets them to do the rest of the warm-up the way that I want to structure it, then I'm all for it. Technically, some of the banded stuff would probably be best either in the middle or at the end of a dynamic warm-up, but we do it here in the beginning because they feel like they're getting something out of it right away. If you continue watching the video, the warm-up continues with a ramp style protocol where we have some game style lateral movements, some contact prep, some sub-maximal intensity sprints and plyometrics just to get them going, get their bodies ready to go before they do their shoot-arounds. If you want to watch the whole video, you can check it out on the page. I had some fun goofing around. It was the first time I ever used the mic. So hopefully this video was helpful to you and got you some good information so that you can start improving your warm-ups and crafting better warm-ups for your clients and your athletes. Again, warm-ups got to be structured in a way that helps your athlete or client achieve the goals out of the session or the day that you're working with them on. Don't be afraid to try out different things as well, whether it's different warm-up movements or techniques. But you got to find out what works best for you and the people that you work with. However, as always, when it comes to program writing or anything else, try these out on yourself first. That way you can be sure that the general effects that you're looking for matches what you plan to do and the purpose of your sessions. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Instagram at Coach Ferran, where I try to regularly post content with either my athletes or my own training. So until next time, take care, keep working.